What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Ever since the Canelo-Plant fight fell through, a lot of boxing fans has wondered why did the fight fall through. Both sides are being blamed. Some people blaming Canelo-Plant, some people blaming Canelo Alvarez, some people blaming Eddie Hearn, some people blaming Al Haymon. Now, I've got the real reason why this fight is not happening September 18th. And the real reason is, despite the fact that you heard that this was going to be a one-fight deal, a one-off between Canelo Alvarez and Al Haymon in the PBC, it actually was going to be a two-fight deal. What was going to happen if he signed that contract was he was going to fight Canelo-Plant September 18th on Fox pay-per-view at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, aka Sin City. After that, he would have had a hometown fight in Guadalajara, Mexico in December. He was going to have a homecoming fight in December if he's successful defeating Canelo-Plant. Now, if he'd have lost that fight, it would have been an immediate rematch, and that fight probably would have took place maybe in September or maybe Cinco de Mayo 2022. So when Eddie Hearn, aka Eddie the Con Artist, caught wind of that, that's when he really came with the full court press to sabotage that fight. He wasn't thrilled about the fight anyway. He wanted to fight on the zone if the fight was going to take place between Canelo and Canelo-Plant. The fight was going to Fox pay-per-view, so he reluctantly was going along with that, but he was still laying the groundwork to try to sabotage that fight. Make no mistake about it, but I think when it was all said and done, the fight probably still would have got done. But when Eddie Hearn found out that it was going to be actually a two-fight deal, not a one-fight deal, Eddie Hearn said, hell to the now. I'm going to sabotage this fight. And that's exactly what happened. That's when he started really putting his input in. Make no mistake about it, Eddie Reynoso is one of the best trainers in boxing. I think he's probably won a Trainer of the Year award or two, more than likely. I don't know. I ain't really been keeping up with it lately. Who won it in 2021 or who won it in 2020? Who won it in 2019 or nothing like that. But I'm pretty much sure he probably won him a Trainer of the Year award or two. But that don't make him qualified to be negotiating a fight of this magnitude. So I know that Eddie Hearn basically was giving his input in the negotiations, and he sabotaged the fight when he caught wind that it was going to be a two-fight deal instead of a one-fight deal. He wasn't thrilled about him going over there to Fox pay-per-view, but I think he was willing to stomach that, you know, it being a one-off. But when he heard there was going to be a two-fight deal, that's when he said, not on my watch. I'm finna sabotage this fight. I was really trying to do it on the down under, you know, doing it in the doing it in the shadows. But I'm finna come out of the closet. I'm finna really put my foot on the gas, and I'm gonna make this fight disappear. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. And now Eddie Hearn is out here trying to say that, oh, it's not no foregone conclusion. Canelo Alvarez is fighting on September 18th. You know, we don't know if he's going to fight because we don't have that much time left. He don't want to make it look like, he don't want to come right behind these failed negotiations and basically say, oh yeah, okay, now Canelo, he's fighting Demetri Bivol on September 18th instead of Canelo-Plant. Because if he comes out and says that, people going to be like, ah, see, Eddie, you the guy that sabotaged this fight. It's going to be clear as day then. So he don't want to make it look like that, but it's all going down that same road that I just laid out for you, is that he's going to set that fight up between Canelo Alvarez and Demetri Bivol. That's what's taking place. That was always the master plan by Eddie the Con Artist. All this other stuff is smoke and mirrors. He's trying to make it look like, oh, well, Dylan White might fight on September 11th. He might fight on September 18th. Now, if Dylan White fight on September 11th here in America, that'll be a bad move by Eddie Hearn, because that's the same day that Oscar De La Hoya is fighting on Triller against Victor Belfort. That fight's going to take place. That fight's going to get all headline news. That's going to be the #1 fight of that day. Oscar De La Hoya, to this day, is still a bigger star than Dylan White ever dreamed of being. So that would be a bad move. Ain't nobody would be talking about that fight between Dylan White and Jermaine Franklin. So best believe that would be a bad move. What I'm thinking is Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin will be the co-main event to Canelo Alvarez versus Demetri Bivol. I think that's what's going to actually transpire. All that old he might fight on September 11th. You know, the original date was supposed to be August 28th. You know, that would be a bad date too, but that's going to be the date for David Benavidez versus Jose Ugataki. That's going to be the date of that fight. You know, you got his brother fighting as the co-main event, and you got Escanda fighting somebody as the Showtime opener. So that fight's going to be an all-Latino card. So that's going to be the #1 fight of that day. So that wouldn't be a good idea to put Dillian Whyte on that date. So that's why they moved him out for that date. Maybe they try to talk about putting him on September 11th or September 18th. Then Eddie Hearn had to, you know, basically Eddie Hearn said that Dillian Whyte might fight on September 18th in replacement of Canelo Alvarez if he don't fight on that date. And they ain't nothing but a bunch of BS. Like I say, he's covering his tracks. He don't want to make it look obvious. That is obvious to me, but make it look obvious to the other people that might not be looking at this stuff clearly. You know, they might be looking at it through Eddie Hearn rose-colored glasses and not seeing it for what it is. So he's trying to make it look like there's a chance that Canelo Alvarez might not fight on September 18th, but that's not the case. He's fighting on September 18th, and then he's trying to make it look like that if he don't fight on September 18th, Dillian Whyte's gonna fight on that date. He's trying his best to get Dillian Whyte all kind of publicity and exposure here in America, because his ultimate goal is to make Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder. That's his ultimate goal. He don't want to make Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. Even if Deontay Wilder is able to defeat Tyson Fury in the third fight, Eddie Hearn is not going to make Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua for undisputed. He's not going to do it. He's not going to put his cash cow in there in a dangerous fight. He didn't do it when AJ could have made $50 million. He damn sure ain't going to do it right now. So that's why when you look at these negotiations between Canelo Alvarez and Canelo-Plant falling apart, this is just a prelude when it's involving Eddie Hearn and the PBC. You know, he's not looking to do business with them anytime soon, especially if the fight entails going on Fox pay-per-view or going on Showtime pay-per-view. If it's entails going on any PBC platform, he's not with it, because he looks at PBC as an enemy. But he's trying to take over here in America through the DAZN app, and he look at Fox pay-per-view and Showtime pay-per-view as hindrance, as obstacles to preventing that from happening. And he's not looking to help those entities out any time in the near future, especially right now. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's the #1 reason why this fight fell through. Eddie Hearn caught wind that it actually was a 2-fight deal, not a 1-fight deal, and that Canelo Alvarez, he was able to defeat Canelo-Plant on September 18th. He would have a hometown fight, a homecoming fight in December in Guadalajara, Mexico on Fox pay-per-view, and Eddie Hearn wasn't trying to have it. He wasn't trying to have it. He's not trying to have it. That's what it is, everybody. That's just what it is. So Eddie Hearn got some bad news today. Conor Benn versus Adrian Granados. And I was actually excited about that fight, man. That fight fell through due to Conor Benn tested positive for COVID-19. Maybe it was a Delta variant. Maybe it was one of those two, man. But he definitely is not fighting Adrian Granados on July 31st, this Saturday. That fight was going to be in Eddie Hearn's backyard. They was going to redo that, the remix. You know, remember they came out with those that fight series last year. They're starting that fight series again this year. But the first card has been hit with a blow, as the main event is now off. And now, I don't know who's going to be that. What's his name? Zoo going to be the main event. He fighting some UK bum, Lee Wood or Lee Westwood or whatever the hell, I don't know his name. He fighting. And old Abner Yildirim, he done bumped up now. He was on the non-televised portion of the card, but he's moved up into the primetime slot. I think he's going to be the opener on the zone. Old Abner Yildirim, you know, he last seen fighting Canelo Alvarez, and he went out like a straight sucker. Put up no resistance. Basically was there to collect the check. I ain't going to say that, though. I'm just messing with you. I'm just throwing a little salt on the wound. But he was basically in over his head in a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Didn't have the tools in the toolbox. Was outgunned. He basically was bringing a knife to a gunfight. He saw the handwriting on the wall, and he basically waved that white flag and quitting that fight, man. As Canelo Alvarez stopped him in what was it, 3 rounds? Can't remember. I know it didn't go too long. He got dropped and, you know, basically was outclassed. The fight should have never been made, but somehow the WBC made a bad move by making him mandatory fighter, and Canelo Alvarez got gifted a belt in that situation. Excuse me. But that's neither here nor there. That fight got pulled. So what was once a decent card by the zone is now basically a UK domestic level bum bash that's going on July 31st. You know, I would hate to say that it was bad karma because I don't wish COVID-19 on anybody. Carter Ben is an innocent bystander in this situation, but when you do dirty business and you handle people any type of way that Eddie Hearn has done, you know, he's alienated himself from all the top promoters in the sport of boxing. Frank Warren, Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, all the top people in the sport of boxing, all the big wigs in the sport of boxing. He's alienated himself from them. It's a wonder to me that any of those guys would ever want to do business with Eddie Hearn, because he always talking smack, always talking bad about promoters, fighters, always talking bad about fights that don't have anything to do with him or his promotional company, always talking about other people's business, always in the video, the P. Diddy of boxing promoters. Eddie Hearn is out here doing Eddie Hearn type of things, ladies and gentlemen. But it is what it is, man. Let me know your thoughts about Eddie Hearn blocking another big fight from happening, and let me know your thoughts about my reason that I did a little bit more research. My reason is the reason why the fight did not take place. It was a 2-fight deal instead of a 1-fight deal. Let me know your thoughts, and hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I holla.